quite suddenly, I knew of something much higher than that wall, and I knew what I must do. I put on my jacket and set off into the night, not even bothering to comb my hair. The neighborhood streets were still and dark. The quickest way to the campus where I teach is straight up the street and through the woods, so that's the way I went. My goal, the thing so much higher than my wall, was always before me on the horizon. Towering above the dorms and library and labs of Franciscan University of Steubenville is a 60-foot steel cross, illuminated and visible from the interstate highways and even from across the Ohio River in West Virginia. I made my way hastily across the silent campus. If anyone had seen me, they would surely have concluded that too much studying had made me crazy. See Acts 26:24. My mind was surely vexed, but probably as sound as it had ever been, as I found myself at the foot of that shining, colossal cross. There, I didn't have to think hard. I knew what the saints of history had done. I needed to do something. I needed to do what they did. I kissed the cross. Then I lay flat, face down at the foot of the cross, and I cried. By then I had filled myself up with all the best the world had to offer. I had consulted the most respected research libraries and personally called upon the top rank of scholars. None of that was enough, and I told that to Jesus. My wall was far too high. Yet I knew no matter what I was going through, his cross was still higher, for he had at his disposal a lot more than I had. Nevertheless, even though he was God, quote, he did not count equality with God a thing to be grasped, but emptied himself, taking the form of a servant, being born in the likeness of men, and being found in human form, he humbled himself and became obedient unto death, even death on a cross. Philippians 2, verses 6-8. Lying there with my face in the dirt, I gave him everything, in the way I knew from St. Francis and countless others. I told him that if I had to fail, so be it. I would be emptied as he was. Here's mud in your eye. What happened next? I'll get to that in a few minutes. First, I'd like to stop and consider the beauty of the Catholic life. Sometimes we find that we've arrived at a wall. Sometimes we find that we've just hit the wall at high speed, and we've left our crash helmet at home. When that happens, something in our nature cries out to us, don't just stand there, do something. God created us that way. He created us with bodies built for action, and he sets us to work in a world full of things to do. All through history, he has acknowledged this natural tendency and given us things to do. When the people were thirsty, God instructed Moses to strike a rock so that water would gush forth. Why did he do that? Not because he needed to. He could have dropped canteens from the clouds, or installed a great lake in the midst of the desert, or even had angels serve up pitchers of margaritas. Yet he knew human nature, and he knew our need to do something. So he gave Moses something to do. From the time of Moses to the time of Jesus, nothing about human nature had changed. Jesus could have cured the blind with a simple nod or a word, but he didn't. He made a paste of mud and spit, and then he sent the blind man off to wash in a nearby pond. Still another time, Jesus made the healing of lepers contingent on their going to show themselves to the temple priests. Quote, and as they went, they were cleansed. Luke 17:14. The Catholic life, the great Christian tradition, is a tremendous inheritance from 2 millennia of saints in many lands and circumstances. Being Catholic means never having to say we have nothing left to do. Our prayer is enriched by sacred images and incense, votive candles and rosary beads, waters and oils, gestures and postures, blessings and medals, customs and ceremonies. Because I was learning to live a Catholic life, I was able to say that even alone at 3 o'clock in the morning in my study, even in the midst of a professional crisis, even when there was nothing more to do, I could do something. I could leave immediately and make a pilgrimage. I could prostrate myself in prayer. I could venerate the Holy Cross. I could invoke the Scriptures. In fact, I could do all these things, and no one was awake to stop me. So I did. Putting things in order. The Catholic life is full of such